Hey there, so I want to talk about something that I find a lot of people struggle with when it comes to either picking out a computer maybe for the first time, or maybe it's not the first time, but also when looking to like upgrade their existing computer. And that is hard drive type. So a lot of computers, especially older ones or ones on the low end of cost, are going to have what's called a HDD or a hard disk drive. It's something like this. This type of drive is going to be a lot slower on your computer, and so your stuff is going to run a lot slower. And the reason it's slower is it's because it's using a mechanical disk inside that basically reads and writes kind of like with scratches, almost like a record player. And they only have a certain number of read and write spaces as well from that spinning. And the older these drives get, the more they wear out and slower they get. And so like if this is on a brand new computer specifically, and your operating system is running off this type of hard drive, it's going to take a lot longer to boot up. It's going to take a lot longer for your basics to load, like just your internet browser. So I tell people generally to check that it says SSD. So SSD is what I'll talk about next. There are a few different types, but the two major types of SSDs are first SATA, which does look a lot like the HDD because it uses the same SATA connector, but it uses electric signals instead of a spinning disk platter to read. And so it's a lot quicker. It's kind of like a flash drive, but it's bigger and sticks in your computer, inside your computer. These are a little bit bigger. Usually the read-write speed is not quite as much as the next one I'll talk about. So it's usually not quite as fast as the next one. Then you have another type, which is also an SSD, a solid-state drive, but this one is called an NVMe drive. So NVMe drives, as you can see, are kind of like a little chip. In most cases, sometimes they're a little bit shorter, especially with brand new laptops that are coming out the last few years. A lot of them have tiny little micro versions or mini versions. These are going to read and write a lot faster, in most cases, than a SATA drive. However, they're usually a lot more expensive as well. And so that's where cost comes from when looking at a new computer specifically. But it's well worth your money if you can put it together to go with either of these over any kind of hard disk drive. And then if you've got an old computer that may have one of these, it is well worth your money and time to be able to upgrade to one of these. You're going to see a huge bump in speed and improvement that maybe you didn't realize was possible, instead of having to buy a whole new computer. And that's what I try to help people do mostly, is find ways to speed up their current devices or get better performance out of their current devices instead of having to spend $1,000, $2,000+ on a new decent computer.